Hey, this is Brittany Griner from the Phoenix Mercury, and you listen to the 3-Point Conversion.
Go ahead and hit the hand raise emoji. We'll call on you as we can. Christos, you want to kick us off? Go ahead, Christos.
Hello, Sue. How are you today?
Hold on a sec. Can you make it?
Yeah. There we go, Christos, right in.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, how are you today?
Good, thanks.
Great. Now it's a different story than the regular season. The playoffs are always a different story. How the approach and the mindset in the team going to the playoffs?
Yeah, I think, we've talked about how we are, definitely have been headed, I should say, in the right direction. Just getting more comfortable. I think there's some numbers that kind of demonstrate that over the course of our last 10, 15 games. So we just want to stay true to that. We want to prepare for a very tough team in DC. Obviously going against them in the regular season, it was 3 tough matchups. So, like I said, want to be true to what we've been doing, just like within ourselves, while also understanding what DC is going to try to do both offensively and defensively, and make sure we're really focused on a game plan going into that.
This team, this version of the Seattle Storm, reminds you anything about the previous championship teams?
No, I think this team, to be honest, every championship team has its own identity, has its own style of play. So this one, is different. I feel like I see glimpses maybe from previous teams, but this one has its own unique identity.
And lastly, for me, starting the first round with such a competitive team like the Washington Mystics, you faced them recently. How beneficial is to bring your best basketball, and what you need to do to bring your best basketball?
I mean, listen, of course, we're going to try to bring our best basketball. I think that's the plan for everybody. When you finish in the 4-5 spots, you're going to be going against a team clearly that is of the same level, of the same caliber. I mean, obviously it came down to the last couple games to see who was going to have home court advantage, and we barely edged them out in that way. So it's definitely going to be a tight matchup. That's always what's tricky with series as well. It's going to be about executing your game plan, but also being able to adjust as you go. Both teams are very well coached. Both teams are very smart. Both teams have players on their team who can just go get a bucket, and Stewie and Elena. And when you have players like that, you really never know what's going to happen. So it's going to be a tough series for sure.
M. Adler, go ahead, M.
Hey, so the first question, you're going up against a playoff round against someone who used to be on your defense, Alicia Clark. Do you think her knowledge of the scheme is going to help them out at all? Is that something you got to prepare for?
It is definitely going to help them, that she knows our system very well. Even when we played them last time, those back-to-back games, anytime I called a play, she was relaying that to them, telling them what to look for. I'm sure she's going to be, in their shoot-arounds and in their practices talking a lot about those things. So that's kind of what I was alluding to when I talked about being able to execute a scheme, being able to adjust, and they have a secret agent over there who knows everything. So we're going to have to figure that out.
When you look at the matchup, obviously, like you said, 2 very talented teams. Specifically, they've got, including Clark, 3 switchable, highly capable perimeter defenders. For you and for Jewel and for Gabby, what does that change in the approach just because you have such disparate skill sets?
Yeah, it's not necessarily something, it doesn't really change the approach. I think we are who we are, right? I am who I am, Jewel is who she is, Gabby is who she is. And what is WNBA all about? It's about trying to showcase your strengths and hide your weaknesses. And I think we'll just continue to do that. Obviously, they do have 3 very tough perimeter defenders. And you do have to change a little bit of how you can attack, right? If Natasha's they don't have many weaknesses, but obviously, like I said, so AC, while she guarded me for a lot of the minutes in the last time we played them. And like I said, she knows our play calls. So I'm going to have to adjust to that, right? Maybe for Jewel going against player X, she'll have to adjust versus going against player Y and try to find different ways to, like I said, showcase your strengths. But that's really what this league is every night. It's just like you said, for DC, they do have 3 very capable defenders on that perimeter, and you do have to be very smart with what you're doing.
And then I'm just wondering, what have you seen in the past, few games? It looks like Tina's really been integrated in the offense more so than just, being a player in the offense. It seems like she's been an integrated part. Just what has led to that, and have you felt that on the court?
That's just time. That's just being together, playing together, figuring each other out. I said that right when Tina got here, that it was going to take time for her to get acclimated. It was going to take time for us to get comfortable with her. She is, we haven't had a low block player like Tina in a very long time. Our offense has really shifted away from, establishing somebody in the post. So I knew that. I knew it was going to take time, and it's, you never know what's going to happen within that time, but it is nice that it is starting to get more comfortable. It is starting to click. We are starting to find spots where we can get Tina the ball, where she can do her thing. And I think for her too, I mean, I don't care what any player says. It's like being comfortable. That's what allows you to shine. When there is discomfort, it is very difficult. There's a very few players that can play in discomfort. Those are the really special ones. A lot of other players, like, you want to feel comfortable. You want to know when things are going to happen. You want to have chemistry with people. That's how you build great teams. Forget individual play. We'll even go, that's how you build great teams. So that's where we needed to get, and we needed time to do that.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Alex, easy, go ahead.
Thanks so much for taking the time today, Sue. Curious to get your thoughts on the new format with the best of 3 series, and especially given that, the win record between you and Washington is the same, how much of an advantage does getting that 4 seed and having the home away compared to home away home?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think we'd all prefer home away home. I played in the league when we did the away home for the 3-game series. I understand it's to minimize travel. That's where home court advantage comes in. I think the most is that we didn't have to go home, pack, hit the road, where fly across country. So that's where I think home court, aside from the obvious of playing at home, that's where I think the home court kicks in because of how quickly our playoffs start. But yeah, I mean, I could sit here and kind of argue both sides. Is it great to have your first 2 games at home? Yeah, you lose, you split, and now you got to go win a game 3 on the road. And I'm sure for, a team on the other side of that, in this case, DC, you're like, dang, we got to fly across country and play 2 games on the road. And then they're probably like, yeah, but if we split, we get to come home and play game 3, and that's just what it is. So I don't really know if there is an advantage. It just depends on where you are and how you look at it. I don't know if this is like a long-term playoff format. that I don't think this is, let me rephrase that. I don't think this is a playoff format I would like to see long-term. But I do understand it got rid of the single elimination and made it kind of more of a balance, right? Like 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7. So I think we're on the right path, but figuring this 3-game series out would be important.
Cool. Thank you so much, Sue.
And Kevin Pelton, go ahead, Kevin.
You mentioned secret agent with Washington and Alicia. You have your own in Tina Charles. What do you glean from her going into this series?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because Tina played there when there was no Elena. Tina played, and I think they adjusted some of what they did, so it's not quite the same. It's not quite the same secret agentness.
Makes sense. Thanks.
No problem.
And that's it.
Okay.
We're done.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
We'll have Gabby Williams here in just a minute. All right, we're here with Gabby. You have a question for Gabby Williams. Go ahead and raise your hand. We'll get started with Gabby here. Adler, why don't you kick us off?
Hey, Gabby, just wanted to start off. Obviously played Washington a couple times recently. Just what you saw in those series that you're looking to take forward into the playoff round.
Yeah, I think we're just trying to peak at the right time. I think everyone's kind of playing as close to their best as we can, which is a good sign. Personally, you know, I'm just trying to continue to do the things I've been doing in this kind of second half of the season, getting downhill, finding my teammates in the right areas, you know, affecting the game defensively and just doing all those little things.
Gotcha. And obviously, you know, they have an excellent defense and they have 3 really switchable, really versatile perimeter defenders. I'm just wondering sort of what changes for you in the game or how you approach the different matchups depending on which one is guarding you.
You know, for me personally, because I'm someone, I try to impact the game in multiple aspects. I kind of just read the flow, I read the rhythm of the game and find out where I need to be, you know, all right, who's hot today? Who's helping off who, you know, do I need to be a playmaker today? Do I need to get to the rim today? You know, my defensive stopper today. So I think that's, you know, just got to go with the rhythm of the game.
Great. Thank you.
And Hunter, go ahead, Hunter.
Hey, Gabby, you're talking about kind of getting into the rhythm of the game, and definitely seems like the last couple you've been kind of filling it out. What helps you, what helps you kind of pinpoint when to attack and when to be that facilitator? Is it the flow of the game or is it more of the game plan you have going into it?
I would say it's the flow of the game. It's the flow of the game. Sometimes it can be the game plan that, like, if I recognize a mismatch or I find, okay, if I drive, I know this person's going to help. So once, I don't know, it's both, because you can't find that until you see what kind of schemes they're in. You can sometimes scout their schemes, but sometimes you can't. So once I find out kind of how the defense is moving, how they're playing, who's helping off who, that's when I know, you know, am I going to be a playmaker today? Do I need to just finish when I get to the rim? Of course, you can't be 100% right every time, but I think it's both. Sometimes you can scout it, but a lot of it is just getting a feel for the rhythm of the game.
Your name's mentioned often on the all defensive teams. How much pride do you take in the defensive side of the ball, and how much do you pay attention to those accolades?
Yeah, I don't necessarily pay attention to those as much. That's not the priority for me, but it always feels great just to have, like, people even mentioning me as part of that. It just kind of is reinforcement of the things that I am doing, and just kind of gives me some more confidence.
Thank you.
And Kevin Pelton, go ahead, Kevin.
Was there an adjustment at all in that process of sort of figuring out how you fit in when Tina Charles moved into the starting lineup, since it's, you know, a little different style than when Ezzy was in that spot?
Yeah, I mean, they do different things. Of course, Tina, we want her to be Tina. We want her to do what she does. You know, my job is just to try to make her job as easy as possible. I like to be a facilitator. I like to be a playmaker. So I tried to learn what spots she liked, where she feels the most efficient, where she feels the most comfortable. And yeah, I think it was pretty easy with her to kind of figure out what she likes. And yeah, just trying to make her as comfortable as possible, let her be Tina Charles.
I mean, do you feel like the assist totals we've seen from the team as a whole, and you specifically the last couple of weeks here, are kind of testament to figuring that out?
Absolutely. You know, we've had so many changes throughout the season. Me and Bree arriving late, having Tina come mid-season. So of course things have changed, and it's taken a while to kind of find that flow and rhythm, but I'm happy that we're finding it at the right moment. It's a good sign that we're having this now, you know, and not earlier. And that kind of team scouting that and then figuring it out. So I think we're peaking at the right time in that aspect.
All right, thanks.
All right, thanks, Kevin. And thanks, Gabby. We'll talk to you guys all tomorrow.
Thank you. Getting my English.